What's happening, car guys and car gals? It's Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And it's Fred Lennartz, the subprime hero.
And the one,
the only
Owen
Moon.
Happy Friday, everybody. Fix Ops Friday is here.
Yes, it is. We're excited. We're excited. Brad cannot be here this week, but he will be at the very next one, my friends. Get ready for it because you all know what Brad brings. He brings that flavor. He brings that funk. He brings a lot of fun, man. That guy's got a sense of humor. We miss you, Brad. Hope you're having a great day today. We miss you, but we're going to take care of the host today. We got Owen Moon in the casa, man. Let's go.
Yeah, good seeing you guys. I'm excited. Our last show was awesome, and I'm super excited to have our guest today as well. So I think we're going to talk a little digital dealer, maybe a few other things as well. So
heck yeah, Digital Dealer is around the corner. I'm excited. We're literally days, hours away from being at Digital Dealer 2022. Is it going to be different this year? Is it going to be the same? We got a lot of questions. We're going to go through them all today. Owen's got a list of stuff that I think is amazing. I'm excited to talk about these things. Let's roll it out. Lou, what do you say? What do you say to that?
Well, I say that we need to go ahead and get this popping and locking like a good B-boy team would do, and welcome in this,
you know the deal,
female inside of the crew, fixed ops, the auto industry, all things concerned need more ladies on the microphone. So let's go ahead and open up a door for this mother who's celebrating Mother's Day this weekend, along with all of you other mamas out there. We appreciate you. We love you.
That's right.
Guys,
Happy Mother's Day.
And all you solutionaries out there, tag a car guy, tag a car gal, share this around, and make welcome the one, the only April Simmons.
Woo! Hey, April.
Hey, how are my favorite people today?
Oh man, blessed to have you here on the show. Thank you for being a guest this week. I know you have a busy schedule. It's a Friday, and you could be doing a lot of other things, but you know you're doing this because you love growing and you love helping other people grow also. So we appreciate your time. Let's get going, man. I'm excited. So tell us a little bit what's been going on with you, April, lately. You know, catch us up.
You know, it's been super duper busy. We acquired two additional dealerships this year, and we've actually increased our fixed ops team within our corporate footprint as well. So we've been really, really busy and running and gunning, and it's been exciting. It's been some definite ups and downs. And this week, obviously, Digital Dealers around the corner. So just trying to get through my last minute check marks to make sure I feel like I can unplug from the stores and plug into there, because I've got a full agenda. Digital Dealer to me is no joke. I'm super excited about it. It is one of the best opportunities that I've taken through, the last 15 years of going in, expanding knowledge. And as we like to say here, keep growing. And one of the best and easiest ways to grow is to learn, and learning from your peers, learning from other people who have, been there, done that, I think is super important. And so here we come, Tampa.
Let's go.
That's right. Well, she's talking truth.
And April, I've noticed you've been everywhere lately. Like every time I turn around, you're either on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on somewhere doing an interview. So, we're going to get more into that, obviously. But yeah, you've been very, very visible the last, I'd say, month, as well. So excited to hear what, why that is. What you got coming up here? Obviously, we're talking a little bit about Digital Dealer. You're part of a couple different sessions, I believe. But it's been good to kind of see you out there promoting, what you guys are going to be doing. Obviously vendors are great, being a vendor partner, years in the business, but I love when we do collaborations with dealership personnel as well, because you're in the trenches. We're trying to help you better, yourselves in those trenches, be more productive, be more efficient, that type of thing. And so, that's when the two come together that really make it happen. And Lou, you talk about that all the time, right?
Yep.
Oh, absolutely. And it's all about taking all of the best beans from all of the best bushes and turning them into something that gets grounded out into one big brew that's good for everybody. And everybody might want some coffee, but everybody's going to drink it different. And this year, the brew is going to be a lot different than it was last year. Last year, we had a pressure cooker on everybody inside of the buildings, inside of their dealerships, inside of their businesses, but never gathering together. For crying out loud, the first assembly inside of a school happened yesterday locally in 2 years. First time in 2 years they were able to pull kids together, right? It's incredible that now we are 1 year past it. I cannot believe we're already there. But if you are going to be there and you're watching this live, or you're listening to this on the replay, watching it on the replay, either way, go ahead and drop into the comments, see you at Digital Dealer, because we want to see who's going to be there.
Make sure friends that you put your name in there. Let us know, but also share this out. Let's get this shared out there right now. I'm sharing right now. I've been sorry if it looks like I have my eyes down. I'm on my phone and I'm hitting share. I'm going through all my favorite groups. I want you all to do the same thing, because guess what? The more that you share, the more that you show that you care, right? That's what's going on. I love it. I'm excited. Digital Dealer is going to be amazing. I do think it's going to be different than last year, and we'll talk about that some more. I do think that it's going to be great, though. I think that it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be an opportunity. What we were talking about before the show, I thought was pretty amazing. We were talking about how NADA was huge, right? And it was all over the place, and it was really almost overwhelming. Actually, it wasn't almost. It was overwhelming.
I was overwhelmed.
I was overwhelmed, and I don't get overwhelmed very easily. It was very overwhelming, but Digital Dealer is a smaller version of that, and I think that it's going to be a little bit smaller this year, is my guess. We'll talk about that some more. I keep spilling beans, but I do think that it's still going to be even better because of that. We're going to have better connections. My connections last year from that have evolved into things like we're doing right now. I met both you all there last year. I remember seeing.
I remember that.
Right. So that being said, those relationships will grow. They become things. 12 months later, look what they are now. We're doing a show together. We're talking about our favorite people, right? So it's great. Well, so I'm excited.
Let's talk about last year. If you want to start there. I mean, we were coming out of COVID, and we'd had a huge growth from 2020, even the first quarter of 2021, and we were last minute. Like, should we go down there? Should we get a booth? And it was different last year because I believe it was Tampa still. Like, I think they went back to back. Sometimes they'll go to Orlando. I think it was Tampa last year. It was the first real conference that was available that was in person. And I remember leading up to it, it was mask mandate. Is it going to be, people are going to stay away? And then they lifted the mask mandate right before it. And so we didn't even bring our booth down. We literally got some pop-up banners, created a little wall, and did a little 10 by 10. And I'll tell you what, it's probably one of the best conferences we've ever had in terms of the relationships that we made. I saw more people hugging and saying hi to each other and just, like, hey, it's been so long kind of thing. And, it was great. So, I don't think that the first spring Digital Dealers typically like that. I mean, it's usually a little more regionalized as we were talking a little earlier, but it was amazing what last year brought us in terms of just that community and the smiles and everybody kind of being back, kind of in the auto business, right? Why we do this, right? Is the connections and the relationships. So
Yes. I believe that 100%, Lou. I mean, I think Lou would agree with that. Lou and I, when we went, it was a great opportunity for us to meet people for the first time. That was like our very first, like that was it, you know, much like April's first NADA was this year, right? This was our first period. We went out there and it was amazing. And what you just said there, the relationships that were built, the opportunities we got to shake, the hugs. I remember at first it was kind of like, do we hug or do we not hug? Right? Do we?
I think
everybody was like, you know what? It's like 80 degrees. It's 80 degrees down here, so we'll be all right. The virus can't live down, right? So we just hugged. We had such a great time. I just remember every night just having the best conversations, not even wanting the nights to end. It was a whole United States. It was so many people from everywhere, Arizona, California. People were flying in for this event. And like you said, it's normally regional. I don't know that for sure because I've never been one, but I hear this all the time that it is mostly regional. The Las Vegas one's more West Coast, right? And then you got this one here, whether it's in Orlando or in Tampa, that's always more of the East Coast deal, especially the Southeast. They really love to come to that event. And man, it was a great event last year. It was magical. I met so many people. I left there, dude, feeling like, holy crap, this is where I want to be the rest of my life. I want to be part of this world, right? And Lou and I both had that magical feeling. We knew it. We were sunk in right there, right? And April, what were your thoughts on that?
So I will tell you, last year was the first year that I went to the East Coast digital dealer. I've always gone to the West Coast digital dealer because I'm in Arizona, and I've never gone to both in one year, right? But last year, they had asked me to do a couple of the speaking engagements and stuff. And so I went to Tampa. And I will tell you, of every conference I've ever been to for Digital Dealer, it was my favorite by far and away. And after the conference, when I came back and I tried to figure out why was it my favorite conference? I had much more meaningful conversations at that conference than I have at any other. Okay, so then you have to dig in deeper. Why did that happen? Was it just because we hadn't seen each other, right? Was it just because we were all so thriving, like needing like air to be around other people and stuff? I don't even think it was that. I actually think that a lot of it had to do with the fact that the layout in Tampa. So you have the convention center. Every single person is staying at one of those couple of hotels right there, right?
Agreed, yeah.
Every single place that we go was within 3 different types of areas, which meant that when you left the conference area and you went somewhere, you were going to just be with your people, right? It was just all those same people. So it made it easier for those conversations, I feel, to grow and continue and to keep being there. And so I felt like Tampa was really fantastic for that versus Vegas, where people kind of go walk to the conference, but then when they leave the conference, they all do their own thing, and you don't know where other people are at. And even if I said, hey, I want to meet with Owen. Yeah, Owen, you and I, let's chat. Let's go over here for happy hour. But I got to go have dinner with these people, and dinner's going to be, a 3-hour event to get over there and back.
Yep.
You can actually have a lot of conversations with multiple people, whereas Tampa just is all together. And I loved it. It was by far and away. I walked away from there with more connections, with more conversations, with more sparks to get us to where we are today. I mean, honestly, last Tampa was the spark that put me so many people that now I have almost anyone I could even think of. If I've got a problem, I got a friend to solve it,
That's right.
I met April at that digital dealer. So that was when we started our friendship, and obviously turned into a business relationship later. But you're 100% right. And I think one thing also to add into that, less distractions, right? There's no gambling, casinos, there's no shows. There's just, there's a lot of other things that you can do in Vegas. Some dealers will bring their spouses for, maybe a little mini vacation as well. So you're obviously doing the conference during the day, and then you're, entertaining your spouse at night, going to dinner, that type of thing. I think the East Coast one, whether it's in Tampa, probably even more than even Orlando. Orlando can get to be a little weird depending on where they have it. They used to have it they had it at one Rosen Creek Shingle, I think.
Shingle Creek. I love that place.
Yeah, that was cool because it was the same kind of environment. Everybody was stuck there. There was nobody that was when you wanted to go eat, you had to take an Uber and go grab dinner. So a lot of times people would just hang out at the the downstairs bar, and we found ourselves last year kind of just walking over to the hotel we were staying at, and we started grabbed a few couches and a couple people, and then a couple more people and a couple more people. And before you know it, we had like 30 people all around us just in this little area, and it was great. I mean, it was a lot of fun, and I'm hoping to have that. Hey, bring that same energy this year, guys. Let's go.
Oh, yeah,
we're going to deliver. We will deliver. We got to step it up this year. That's why we decided to go press and just go walk around the whole place. You're not going to just put me in the corner. I'm going to go all the way around.
Put baby in the corner.
I'm not going to put baby in the corner. I am going to get lifted up. But anyway, we're going to have some fun when we get there. We're going to bring some energy. I can't wait to see you, Owen. You bring the same kind of energy with what you do. Obviously, April, I love watching you speak, and I'm looking forward to that. And not to get off too much subject, because this is directly for Digital Dealer. I want to go to April really quick, and I want to talk about the sessions that you're going to be a part of. Let's dig into that some. I know that you said that you would normally you would go just to one or the other. Well, now it sounds like because of what's going on in your life, you may be going to all of them all the time. What's bringing you this year, and what kind of sessions do you have going on?
So the first session is called The Big Pivot. And, obviously a lot of things have changed over the last few years, but a lot of things have stayed the same. And so I'm really excited to speak with my friends from Dealer Teamwork, but we've got a representative from Google. We have a representative from Stellantis and another dealer who are going to be on that panel. And that's going to be on the main stage right after the keynote, first thing Monday morning. So get your coffee from my friends Fred and Lou, and get your butts down there early on so we can be rocking and rolling. So, at the end of the day, that session I'm really excited about, because I'm going to bring some stuff up that I think a lot of people aren't looking at. Dealers as a whole, we tend to be very reactive. We're not the most proactive bunch in the world. And there's some stuff on the horizon that I think we really need to be looking out for. And so I'm excited to do that session. I've also been invited to, again, speak with, or, be part of the dealer advisory board with Digital Dealer. So I'm really interested for anybody, if they have comments, they're watching this now or later, and they pop them in, Fred and Lou, let me know. I'm happy to bring back to the team. As everyone knows, they've transitioned ownership over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. And so they've been really interested in trying to find out, what do we do to make it great? And so one of the things that happened from last year in Tampa when I did the advisory board with them is I said, one thing for me, a person who's been going as a dealer for a long time and learning at Digital Dealer, was the value of the networking, the value of having the conversations with other people to find out their best practices, what are they doing, and that sort of conversation. But it's hard to just walk up to somebody and be like, oh, do you work for so-and-so? Okay, can we talk about what it is you do? So those roundtable conversations were fantastic, and they just stopped doing those, and I didn't really understand why. So they are doing one this time. It's called Think Tank, and I'm excited to be a moderator as part of that. So that we can have some of those conversations where, vendors and dealers alike can start to come together and have an open platform for that. So that's super exciting.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And then some of my honestly, my best friends. I mean, honestly, Hannah, Lori, and Denise have become some of my most favorite humans in the whole wide world. They have definitely been a rock for me for so long. And so we're super excited to bring together a panel where we're going to bring a whole roadmap, right? Because I think where a lot of times what happens is that we get fixated on one piece, and you do this one piece really well, but we still don't understand why we're not getting the results. Well, it's really about connecting all the dots, right? And then they're going to have their dots that they're going to have out there. And then I'm going to talk about the process that you need to have in place to actually then connect those dots. So you can buy all the solutions in the world, but if you don't have a process to actually make solutions work, then they fall apart. So super excied about that panel as well with my friends to get that rocking and rolling. I'm going to do a couple different podcasts while I'm there as well, so that we can just have those conversations. One may or may not be on a yacht.
She might be spilling some
Shout out to
beans.
that.
I think I know a little bit
What a
about
fun
that.
way to do that, right?
That'll
So
be fun
he
for
did
you.
the car in Vegas, and now he's doing the yacht there. So
Come on, how cool is that?
Yeah, the yacht's
but
going to be
most
good.
importantly, it's you get out when it comes to something like Digital Dealer, you get out what you put in. And so I'm a big believer in planning your trip, right? Like seriously, if I show you right now, like, and I'm old school when it comes to stuff like this, but like I have printed out my agenda, I have highlighted where I need to be, I have made sure I know this is what sessions I want to make sure I attend because I'm going to get value out of it. Don't just show up to show up.
That's right.
Like show up with a plan of what you want to get out of it, and you'll get so much more out of it.
Absolutely. And we're showing up to see who's brewing solutions in the industry. And
Wow.
we're coming to put a
And
microphone
we're super excited
in front of all of them. But what
Man.
you're talking about is huge. And it could only really be seen from the vantage point of somebody in the trenches like you, in the dealership side of it, that says, look, there's a lot of tools. There's a lot of tools that we can put together. But if we got a big garage filled with tools and no mechanics, nothing's getting fixed. Okay, nothing's actually happening, and that's so awesome. And I love that you're blending all of these beans to brew something awesome on these different panels. And from what I understand, my man Owen, you got something cooking for a panel too. What's brewing with you,
man? I'm so excited. We have so many people sitting here right now on panels, and look, tell us a little bit about that, man.
It's actually ties, I think, into what April was saying. I mean, trying to get more people involved and trying to have more collaboration, not just a session where you sit up there and you listen to someone preach for 20 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. And usually it's a well-disguised sales pitch, right? I mean, that's what we see a lot. And it's just very, very informal, right? I mean, I've spoken at a lot of digital dealers and I try to make it fun. I try to be, ask questions. I try to get participation, but even with me deliberately trying to do it, sometimes you look out there and go, man, these guys must have been living on like 2 hours of sleep, which could have happened, right? So, like, let's be fair. But
I know what that feels like. I know what that feels like.
But they got a new thing this year called Ask the Experts, and I think we're probably using the word experts loosely in a lot of cases, but I love it because I got asked to be on it, and what it is, it's going to be a total audience collaboration. They want us to be up there. It's myself and there's two of them, and mine is myself and Dane Seville from Reunion Marketing, Troy Scherer, and Tom Klein and George Nenny. So
amazing people.
Yeah, good people in all different backgrounds, right?
Yeah,
so,
man. Amazing.
So we're gonna be sitting up there, and it's gonna be like like press day. Okay, just tell us your most pressing things that you want to talk about, and let us do our best to try to give our insight on those. And I think that might be a step into what April's talking about, is just to try to get more dealer interaction. Panels by nature, I've moderated some panels, are typically designed to be a little more, you want to put people on there that want to bicker a little bit, right? You want them to fight it out and really, hey, I disagree with you kind of thing. I'm not sure this will be like that as much. I think this will just be more, hey, I've got a question about fixed ops. All right, Owen, let's talk about it. I have a question about Google Business Profile. George, let's see what you think. And I think that's going to go a long ways because the problem is that when you put in your session for these, in a lot of cases, you're doing it months in advance, right? NADA is a year in advance. Like, we're moving so fast that a year from now, I probably don't want to talk about what I'm talking about today. 60 days from now is borderline questionable. So, it's like, why do we make speakers put in all this time and effort into something that might be not really relevant or as relevant in that 90 days or 6 months period? Let's get people on a session, and let's fire real questions right now. Hey, what is going on in my store? What do I need help with? Can you guys help me? And so that's what we're doing with the panel that I'm on, and I'm pretty excited to be a part of it. So,
dude, I have to say one thing real quick, is that is exactly what I'm talking about. What you both are being on panels, letting people ask questions to get educated. When you go to some of these events, some of them, not all of them, but some of them, you'll go up and you'll see a speaker and all they're doing is pitching the whole time.
Oh, for
it's
sure.
a nonstop pitch. I understand. I get it. They spend a lot of money to be there. They're doing this. They want to make sure that they get their ROI on that, right? Totally understand. But They don't understand. I think that what the problem is, they don't understand the power of the ROI just by giving people free information to help them.
Yep.
Letting them ask you those questions, like you said, like we talked about earlier, the conversations we have in the hallways with people and at dinner are sometimes the most powerful conversations, educational things we'll have. But those come from people asking questions. Those come from, hey, that's knowledge you want to know. Here, I know it. I didn't realize that was needed. Right. You know, and then that's what's so great about what a panel does. And right on, Owen, man, I'm so glad that you guys are up there. I'm glad it's a mix of a whole bunch of different people. But I'm going to say, you say experts loosely. No, man, very much so. When I hear that list,
seat, buddy.
that is not loosely said with those people. That is a real expert panel. That's folks. Right. You guys need to make sure you're for all these panels. If you're seeing this, if you're going to Digital Dealer, I'm just going to tell you, make sure you get some education, because when you there's going to be plenty of fun. We got the hours of the day where you can get some education. The reason why you're investing in yourself to be there, to become better. Go get this stuff. Ask the questions. They just told you, ask them anything about fixed ops. They will answer it. She just said, ask her anything about market. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Go for it and get it. It's there. So don't be scared to ask. Be the person who puts their hand up. Remember the kid in school that asked the teacher everything, and you're like, man, come on, man. No, that was the kid who's probably, you know, running freaking Google now, right? True.
100%.
Matter of fact, I know the president of Google. He graduated from my school. So I'm just saying, in my year I graduated, and that was the kid, Billy Reddy, right? Fantastic.
He wants to be a sponge, or they want to be a sponges, and they just want to absorb everything. You can't do everything, right? You can't. That's the only challenge with a conference like this, is that I have a couple time slots where I'm like, oh, there's like 4 people I want to go to. So I might do the whole bounce in, bounce out thing, but you know, you got to kind of pick and choose your battles. And I think a lot of that comes from the store, right, April? You've got certain challenges that you are focused on right now. Let's get those done first, and then fill in maybe gaps where, you know, you have some downtime, or some other areas where you can kind of pick and choose where you want to go. But let's focus on, hey, I'm having problems with this, and let's see if there's something there that at least I can, you know, get some information on. So
amen.
And that
is
is
that it's not too late at this point. If it's a dealer, if you're a dealer principal who's like watching this, and you're not taking the person who actually does the work with you, buy them a ticket, get them there, right? Okay. And if you're the person who is going without your decision maker, find a way to make sure that you're bringing back a connection that will be able to help you educate now the decision maker. Because the one thing with Digital Dealer that I've always found to be hard is that we end up seeing one or the other there. And it's really important that both those people get there. The person who's actually doing the work, who's going to say, yes, this will work, or no, it won't, and here's why, versus also, I'm the person who says yes and can write the check. Right.
So here, work with this.
You know, and that's because at this event, there's a lot of new vendors, and we were just talking about that. I'm going to toss this over to Owen. Let's talk about new vendors. What's going on this year? What do you say about that?
Yeah, you know, I feel like every few years it kind of cycles through, right? You know, you all of a sudden you see that some of these other vendors that were there, they kind of dip out for whatever reason, and I feel like just kind of randomly, I was looking at the exhibitor list, and I'm like, I don't know who these people are. It's a lot more right now. So I don't know if these are more regionalized vendors that said, hey, since I can maybe drive over, or it's a quick flight. You know, it might be worth for me to, you know, obviously everyone's fighting for business right now on the vendor side. I mean, if you're specializing in, you know, sales, marketing, or sales, anything at this point, you know, you probably have a little bit harder time, because, you know, I know most dealerships aren't even having to advertise for new cars. They're either all pre-sold or they're not getting any in any way. So why even allocate the budget? So, you know, this is their chance to kind of maybe, you know, get them of that visibility that they weren't able to get in Vegas, because they didn't want to trek all the way across the country to do it. So I don't know the reason. I don't know why there's so many new ones this year, and maybe why some of the other ones. I know that, like, we're not getting a booth this year. Part of that was because we put a big push into NADA and decided that it was just too close. So I know that's might be a factor in some of it, but I did notice that there's just a lot of new vendors. So for someone like April, this would be great. You know, even for myself, I'm going to walk around and introduce myself to a lot of new people that, you know, may or may not have heard of Fixed Ops Digital, may not have met before. And, you know, just another chance for me to shake a hand and, you know, and maybe make a friend. So, you know, and April obviously will be able to, you know, maybe she's very obviously progressive and forward thinking. So to find that little gem that's out there that she can say, oh, I can take that back. Would be easy to do here in some cases because of the additional exposure that these new vendors are looking for. So
right, and with that, having all of these new kinds of brews on the barista shelves, right, can help you come back with something to brew for your store. But somebody with a marketing mind like April, that's inside of the trenches doing what you're doing, what would you say? Like, if somebody had to say, hey, okay, help me understand, I'm going to be there for 3 days, right? It's going to be 2 days that are effective. How should I point my hunt? How should I actually point my search engine, right, into finding what I need? Like, you got your sheets ready, you got your map mapped out. How should they map it out on the things that they should actually be bringing back? And then how do you pick somebody that you're actually going to target, especially when you got a whole bunch of new names in the mix?
Well, so I will tell you, obviously I get hundreds of calls a day. I mean, honestly, I have a team of blockers, right? They're like, no, you can't talk to her kind of thing.
Gatekeeper.
But I will say what's been really, really interesting is a lot of people have actually reached out to me. So there have been a lot of these new vendors that I've actually already had small conversations with. And typically it's been a referral. So again, it comes down to the connections and the networking that happens. So I think it's important to, before you go, isolate what it is you want to get out of it, right? Like, what education are you going? What problem do you have? And pick your biggest one first, right? What's the biggest impact? What's the number one thing? For me early on, it was learning internet. It was learning the process that I needed to try to put in place within the CRM. It was that sort of thing. As things progressed and time went on, I was layering different things, right? So like last year, even, it's Fixed Apps Friday. Last year, one of the things I really wanted to look at was fixed app solutions, because my fixed apps guys are not going to Digital Dealer, right? So I wanted to be able to bring stuff back to them to say, this is what I think we can do to help solve some of these pain points for their teams. So I think that if you first of all isolate your problem, then find the education that is around that problem, right? Then after you're done with that, then you figure out the vendors by networking and asking questions, who is going to best solve that problem, and now allow yourself 2 hours of time to go on the floor and go meet and greet those 2 or 3 people. So I think that really helps you come back with something tangible that you can say, hey, I went there with this problem. I came back not only with the knowledge, but with a solution that's going to help me get to the finish line of solving it. So I think that that's one of the best and easiest ways to kind of attack Digital Dealer, especially if it's your first time going, because it is a little overwhelming when you don't know people. I mean, at this point, I've been to enough of them. It's like a family reunion to me. I'm like, hey, it is, right? It's like family reunion. But, if it's your first time, I remember going, and it's as a dealer by yourself, it can feel very overwhelming because the vendors do all, for the most part, know each other. And so, don't be afraid to ask questions, as you guys said, and raise your hand. It is super important that you get out of it what you intend to get out of it. And if you do, you'll continue to go, because I've reaped a lot of reward from this conference in particular through the years. So I'm a huge fan of Digital Dealer because of the education you can take home with it.
Absolutely. The knowing of the people that you're building the relationships with is usually how you're going to find the best solution for them. What I love that Owen is doing is that he's not setting up the same way that most other solutionaries would, is putting up the booth, being part of that. He's going to the sessions. He's going to sit on a panel. He's going to do what the dealers are doing and go see and be amongst them to make sure that he's there, present, seeing what's cooking, seeing what's going on. I honor that. What was it that made you make that switch for really wanting to do that this go around?
Well, look, there's so much out there, right? There's so many conferences. There's so much that we're investing into our company with marketing that we can't do it all, right? You just can't. It's just like dealerships, right? There's a lot of things out there, but you have to kind of pick and choose. And so with NAD being so close to Digital Dealer, that was one of our driving factors. We're like, what? We just did this massive booth. We brought 15 people to NADA. We had a huge turnout. We did a bunch of testimonial videos. I mean, we had a party, right? It was a great time. And what was great about it is that we grew so much in 2020 and 2021 that some of these dealers that we are working with, I'd never met in person. So, this was our chance to, shake hands and meet people for the first time in real life that we've been doing Zoom calls with now for 2 years. April and I met in Tampa, and we obviously are blessed to work with their organization. So I actually flew down to Arizona and met her and all of her fix ops team and that type of thing. So I got a chance to kind of see their operations in person, but I can't do that for with everybody. Just it's not enough time in the day, not enough days in the week. And honestly, with travel expenses these days, I mean, you guys know what it's like. It's insane. So, just we can get so much more done with Zoom and all that we're just kind of picking and choosing. So we went NADA. We're going heavy with Digital Dealer in the fall. We're doing another conference that's very fixed ops focused, and that's kind of our big events for the year. And so, when I got asked to do the panel, I said, what, this is going to be great, because before I was doing booths, so we did our first booth in 2018 when we were just a young company. And since then, I've been at every NADA or Digital Dealer since then and had a booth. So before that, prior to that, I was doing what I was going to do. This one is I was speaking at conferences. I was going to all the sessions. And honestly, this is where I learn, and this is where I become a student of automotive and try to say, hey, what is George Nenny saying, and how can I use what his brain is telling him to make my company better? And I think if people can go with that mindset, if you're not getting a booth, especially from a vendor side, you're going to go a long ways in making your show a success. But obviously, I'm going to see a lot of my clients down there. I can't wait to show April some of the new things that we're working on. And, I know I have already talked to, dozens of other clients that are going to be there as well. So we're, it's also a great way for us just to connect with dealers, that are all going to be there in one setting. So I'm not having to jet set across the country doing it, and so we take advantage of that opportunity as well. But, yeah, I'm very excited for the show. I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good, like anything, it's going to be 2.5 days, and I'm going to be like, oh man, I didn't get nearly done what I wanted to get done.
Right. It always happens that way, and that's the thing. But when you go to these events, you get to meet some of the greatest companies out there, the greatest people out there, these amazing opportunities. You get to go see people like the best digital marketing company there is in fixed ops.
I like that. That's strong.
It can transform your mindset just by being at these events. And everybody's coming different. This year, we're coming different, right? We're not going to be doing the podcast. We're not going to be on one stage pissing off every other vendor, right? As we're yelling throughout the entire place, right? We're going to be going into all their booths saying, hey, real quick question. We need an interview, right? Giving quick 5 minutes of fire with everybody that we can get into the time, because we want to be around. We don't want to be stuck inside of one spot, and we want to see all the solutions that are brewing.
I definitely love the education there.
Different this year.
I learned a lot while I was there, but this year I'm going to learn even more. I take advantage of all these types of moments. I am now not part of a dealership. I am a vendor all the way, but just like Owen says, I can come to this event. I can get educated. I could find tools to help my clients get better at what they do. Not to mention, I can connect people. We're connecting. This is what it's about. We all get connected together. We find people that we can help. Hey, just like April said, when you come in, you network and you ask questions about the things that you're wanting, right? When you hear that, because of that network, you speak with other people, you get educated, they end up landing in your lap sometimes. It works both ways, my friends. Well, and just like April said, you put out what you want back. And if you want a lot back, you got to put out a lot. So go out,
it's all about the person, right? I mean, I've had several times where it got done and somebody maybe said, hey, how was Digital Dealer for you? And I'm like, oh man, best digital dealer ever. Was busy, had a lot of great connections. How about for you? Worst digital dealer I've ever had. Like, how are we this different? And so it's, sometimes you can have the best venue and all the people there, but at the end of the day, the person still has to, I made a post at one of the digital dealers probably now 5 years ago. And I said, all right, I'm here. It's time for me to get out of my comfort zone for 2.5 days, because by nature, you don't know people. You just kind of maybe, be a wallflower or hold up a wall. But, you have to just say, you know what, whatever, I'm going to go shake some hands and understand that those people are probably in that same mindset, and they're waiting for, to get the courage to come up and say hi to people. And so then once you get used to it, then it just now it's what we call networking, right? Now it's just networking with everybody. And there's certain ones you're going to gravitate towards and feel like you're, that's more your people. But I think at the end of the day, getting out of your comfort zone, just have that mindset that everybody's doing it. And, don't feel like hey, I'm worried about, what people are going to think if I'm coming up to talk to them. It's, hey, go talk to them, say hi,
Absolutely.
Owen's right. The uncomfortable zone is where we all grow. So go get uncomfortable. When you see somebody that you want to speak with, but you feel like it's wrong, go speak with them. They want to speak to you just as much. People want to inform others. That's why we go to those events. I know I'm there to pour in. I'm also there I'm there with an empty cup, and I'm also there with the full cup, right? I'm there for both. And I want to make sure that people understand that. And April, I know that you do think the same way. That's just who you are. Tell us a little bit how you feel about that.
Well, so I'm just having kind of thinking too back again to especially when I first went, it can be a little bit intimidating if you think you might be asking a stupid question, right? Like a lot of people, you look around, there's, 30, 40, 100 more people in that room. And do you really want to raise your hand and say, hey, I got a question, yada, yada, yada. And a lot of people are really not comfortable with doing that because their fear is that I'm the only one in this room that doesn't know the answer to this. And so either A, get over that fear and understand that probably 90% of the room had the same question. Or B, what I did early on was I was intimidated, which sounds weird because I'm not really that person. But I would just hang out after the session, the speaking session was over. And usually there'll be a small group that kind of congregates and then asks one-on-one questions. Because most speakers will hang out for a little bit after their session to continue those little mini conversations. So a really great way is if you're really intimidated to start a conversation, just give it a minute to get yourself that one-on-one, moment. So then it's less intimidating. So that's super cool. One of the other things that I am kind of excited about is we talk about Fixed Ops Friday, right? Like it's Friday and we are talking about Fixed Ops. So it is Digital Dealer, but it is also an amazing time. Sometimes there's things that happen in our world that we call a catalyst, right? And sometimes the negative things that happen create positive things in other areas. And so this whole idea of, fixed ops being a big part of what we do in sales and marketing, it's not brand new, people. Like this is not a thing. The problem is that prior we would never get to the conversation. Right? I will tell you, I was fighting with fixed ops guys paying any part of advertising. They're like, no, people just show up. They just show up to get their oil change. That's how it works. And I would say, really, because sales is paying to drive that. And they would say, really, why? Why do you say that? Well, let me show you in Google Analytics the amount of people that I paid to schedule a service appointment, right? And so you start having these conversations of realizing like the best customer you're going to get is the one you've already formed a relationship with. And those people are over in your service department. And so suddenly with this lack of inventory, right, just similar to 2008, which was the last time we went into service and said service matters, right? Service always has and always will matter. But what we're doing now is laying groundwork for when inventory does come back in the fixed ops side as well. So making sure that your website is as consumer friendly to a person on the service side as it is on the sales side, that your chat tools, that your GMBs, that you have the separate pages, that you have, a company like Fixed Ops Digital that is actually making sure that your fixed ops SEO is being optimized. All of those positive things that come from a negative situation like inventory. So it's going to be a fixed ops year, and I'm excited to actually finally be able to have the conversations out of accident, right? It's kind of accidentally happened, but I'm happy for this catalyst because it's something that's been a long time coming, considering that honestly, 70 to 80% of all of our traffic and 70 to 80% of every phone call made to the dealership is to fixed ops. Wow. Yet we focus everything we talk about in sales and marketing on sales. So it's something to think about as you're going into Digital Dealer, to have those conversations too.
I love how you broke that down. So help us break this down just a little bit further, because you're dropping so much great knowledge. None of this is by accident, and you said it. You said it going into this, right? You're not going to by accident run into people and hopefully find a solution. You're going with intention. You're going with purpose. You are focused on getting that. So you gave us some great advice for dealers or representation from the dealership going to an event like this and to get something out of it. So give us now, from your vantage point, flip it real fast, as the ones that see an April Simmons walking by, or somebody similar, or somebody that commands, a massive budget to take care of solutions at the store, but they're going to get looked past in a lot of cases, especially on the fixed ops side of town. I'm not going to ignore the stigmas that are out there, right? Ladies walking into that conversation is a little bit different. Some of the gentlemen might have a little bit of a harder time getting that conversation kicked off and started, in understanding that you're making the decision for that, right? And knowing that you're the one that they have to have a great educational conversation with quick, but they might just let you walk on by, right? Or wait for your dealer to show up. Is your dealer here with you? Almost the same question, like, is your husband going to make this decision with you? You know what I mean?
I used that analogy yesterday. Literally used the same analogy yesterday. Like, one of my other favorite fixed ops people, Kaylee. I think you guys have met Kaylee. She with Parts Edge, and she's fantastic. And early on in meeting, and she was kind of jumping out there because she lives just a couple hours from me. So she came down and we sat and we were talking, and she said the hardest thing she was having a hard time with was having the right conversation with the right people. And how does she need to make sure that she's pulling in the decision maker, right? Because she's going in and she's talking to the parts people who are like, I love this solution. But then she's got, the decision maker saying, but I don't need that solution. And the problem is that you don't know what you need sometimes until you have it. But it's because you have to ask yourself this question. This is solutionary 101, right?
Come on.
Are you happy with where you're at? Or do you want to continue growing? Because if you think your tree is giving you enough shade and you're just happy basking in the shade right now, then you're not going to get much out of going to something like Digital Dealer. It is really designed for the people who do want to continue to grow no matter where they're at. And so these types of conversations and solutions, when somebody comes to you, whether it's your parts person, your service director, your service advisor, your lot attendant, your sales guy, your BDC person, your office manager, your receptionist, any of those people come to you with a problem, that's an opportunity for a solution that will help you grow. And so we need to start listening to our staff and where their problems are. And that's where we can continue to actually grow so that we can get our decision makers into the conversation, because decision makers are busy. And so a lot of times it's not that they don't care. It's that they're like, I don't want to hear 35 pitches. So they're not going to talk to you unless somebody that they trust, respect, and work with comes to them and says, hey, I got a problem, but I think I know a way to solve it.
Love it.
Well, and we've kind of taken that position as a company as well, is that, instead of saying, hey, like, come work with us, April, and we're in this like bubble, right? We're saying, hey, let us help you make your Sunbit repair financing, an example, or maybe your repair financing company work more, better. Let's figure out how to, make another company, that you're working with be more, interactive with what we're doing. Your BDC, let's make sure that your BDC is getting more value out of the content that we're building them that they can use in their CRM emails. And so it's unpeeling those layers to get to a much more robust strategy, not just, hey, should we throw a $10 oil change on the website and maybe do a direct mail piece to our DMS. I mean, that's what we've been doing for years. And to April's point, if we're just going to do that, then we're just going to keep touching the same clients that we've always touched. And so let's expand our horizon. Let's figure out how we can get out and touch, those conquest customers or people that don't do business with us, because if we can bring them in through service, we always say we bring them in through the side door, right? Everyone wants to come through the front door to do sales. Let's get them in the side door. Let's do some earn their business there, create a relationship, do a good job. Then we have a car that we might be able to buy or trade. And maybe when we get some new inventory back, we can actually sell them a new car as well. So, that's why, service and service marketing is evolving. That's why we're leading that charge, and we're excited for, we're going into our 5th year in July, and for some ways I feel like we're just getting started.
Heck yes.
Yes, sir.
And so, let's be honest. So how long we've been doing sales marketing or, variable marketing for the internet? We're going on 20 years probably right now. I mean, maybe 25 even when you think about it. And, we're probably, like I said, going on our 5th year in online. So we're super excited for the future. But April, as always, thanks for having, for coming on. Thanks for being here. And we're super excited for, your sessions and your panels and kind of just to see you down in Tampa. And, I know that I'll be on a flight first thing Sunday morning, and we're going to celebrate Mother's Day around here a day early. But we're super excited for what's to come the rest of this year, I guess. So,
heck yeah. Well,
what a show!
What an incredible conversation!
Show. I'm telling you, Digital Dealer. If you're not going to be there,
this is going to be exciting.
Woo, you're going to miss something. You're going to be that. I wish I was here.
Get your pin.
I get those all the time. I post stuff. People are like, "Oh man, I got major FOMO right now." It's okay. I will post tons of posts for y'all. I promise. Right? We'll make sure that you guys get a sneak peek of what's happening. We're going to be doing great interviews while we're there. I'm going to have Owen there. I'm going to make sure I get 5 minutes of fire with him. I know April. I'm going to get 5 minutes of fire with her.
I'll find 5 minutes for my friends.
That's right. So we're going to have a great time, and this stuff is all going to be recorded, and we will put it out the week after Digital Dealer, so be looking for it all. We're excited. Fixed Ops Friday. We'll be back here soon. We'll have Brad on the next show, folks. I promise he's going to be on, ready to go. I'm excited to see both of you guys there. Lou, why don't you clear us out here with the Forgive Focus flags? We haven't done that yet.
No, we have not. And that's exactly what we want to make sure we do with each and every one of you at Digital Dealer 2022 in Tampa. Can't wait to see our friends. Can't wait to make new ones. From what I understand, there's a long list of new ones we're going to get the chance to make.
High five.
So with that, we can't wait to see you all there. Make sure that you do follow our friends Owen, follow our incredible guest today, April Simmons, as we get ready to have an incredible time spreading the message that we are all actually better together. Believe that, folks. The solutions are out there, and you have no excuse for finding them unless you're not actually seeking them. But we can help with that. Forgive yourself and focus on what it is that you need to do, and reach out and go ahead and hop on that plane and fly your way to Tampa and see us inside of Digital Dealer 2022 so that we can keep growing together. But here we go. On 3, everybody. Forgive, focus, fly. 1, 2, 3. Forgive, focus, fly, and keep growing. Keep growing. Yeah. Big Ops Friday.
Brought to you by Fix Ops Digital, my friends. It is the place to go to fixopsdigital.com. I'm Fred Lennartz, the subprime hero.
And I'm Lou Ramirez, the car guy. And you have been brewing solutions on the Car Guy Coffee podcast together with Fix Ops Digital's Owen Moon. And we've been celebrating our incredible special guest, the one, the only, April Simmons. That's right, everybody. We will see you all later. See you at Digital Dealer. Have a great day, everybody. Share this around. And let us
everyone.
Be there. Appreciate you all. We're out. Peace.
Yeah.